It's an awesome day up here in Duluth, Minnesota. It's balmy. No. Dang it. I was going to do this where, never mind, I'll do it later. Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. Last weekend, I had like over 70 emails that I needed to respond to, and I had to get ready for a homily, and I had another talk, and plus we had students who were arriving off campus to come to campus, and there's all this stuff going on, all this activity. And what I found myself doing is I'm looking at all these things that needed to get done, in addition to like 1,000 other things and responsibilities of how my family's doing, and like my parents, how my brothers and sisters are doing, and all the other friends I've got. Like, I just felt overwhelmed. And I started feeling like kind of anxious. I started just worrying about like, how am I going to get everything I need to get done? And I'm sure that at some point in your life, you've experienced the same kind of thing. You felt overwhelmed, and you just started to worry, and you just started to feel this anxiety kind of creeping up. And like, just kind of, it paralyzes you. And you're like, what do I do next? Well, I was listening to a guy, very helpfully, talking about like, what do you do when you feel overwhelmed? And he referenced a movie or a book called The Martian. So I got the book. Got the book and read it. And the idea is this. Matt Damon's character is an astronaut who gets stranded on Mars, on a Mars expedition. So he's left for dead on Mars. And he has to find a way to stay alive long enough for maybe the next Mars expedition to come back and rescue him. Because he cannot get off the planet Mars to Earth. He can't radio Mars to Earth. He just has to stay alive long enough, on like 4 years, on the planet of Mars for the next Earth expedition to get there. So he's overwhelmed. But the remarkable thing is this, that throughout the entire, at least first half of the story, that's as far as I've gotten so far, I don't know what happens at the end, the first half of the story, he's like, okay, so I have to get water. I don't know where I'm going to get water. I have to get soil. I don't know where I'm going to get soil. I have to be able to grow enough food to live for 4 years. I don't know how I'm going to get enough food to live for 4 years. But what he does, instead of feeling overwhelmed, and instead of giving into anxiety and worry, what he does is he just acts. And that's the thing. If you ever feel overwhelmed, again, here I'm staring down the barrel of 70 emails, plus this, the best thing to do is to just take the next good step. To be able to ask, okay, right now, I can't do everything right now. What can I do? Taking action is a killer of anxiety. And if you find yourself in the midst of worry, that's probably a good indication that you're not working. Because we realize this, that once you start moving, what happens is, okay, yep, you still have all these things to do, but now because you're taking action, because you're saying, okay, what's the next thing I can do? What you end up doing is the next thing you need to do. Still, being overwhelmed has its enemies, or action has its enemies, because I think a lot of times people struggle with this thing called perfectionism. And the idea behind perfectionism is this. It's not just that I can't do this task. Of course I can do the task, but the question is, can I do it perfectly? I don't want to do it until I can do it perfectly. And in that's one of those things that perfection paralyzes so many people. And so in that case, to be able to say this, I remember reading a book a number of years ago that talked about people in Silicon Valley, when they were the tech boom, people were inventing these incredible inventions, whether they be apps or actually, hardware that revolutionized our culture, revolutionized the technology industry, all these kind of things, where you have these engineers and these artists who are creating these amazing gadgets. But what they were doing, I found, was that they were tinkering with them because before they released them, they wanted them to be perfect. And so apparently some of these groups adopted this motto that's existed for a long time. The motto is this: done is better than perfect. To get it done, it's better than to make sure that it's perfect and keep tweaking it and never get it done. And don't even take my word for it. Let's take St. Paul's word for it. St. Paul, writing to the community in Philippi, his letter to the Philippians, it's chapter 3. St. Paul even says this. He says, after talking about like the Christian life, because so many people, so many Christians, they find themselves like, okay, well, I don't know, I can't pray perfectly, I can't live perfectly, I can't act, I don't speak perfectly, all these kinds of things, so I can't do it. Well, Paul talks all about like the great grace that he's striving after, this righteousness with God, this right relationship with God. And then he says these words. He says, it's not that I've already taken hold of it, like that perfect relationship with God, or that I've already attained perfect maturity. St. Paul says, no, listen, I'm going after this right relationship with God, which is an overwhelming thing, isn't it? Like I'm sure that in your prayer life, in your walk as a Catholic Christian, as a disciple of Jesus, you've been overwhelmed by, like, what do I need to do? Well, people tell me I need to pray the rosary and liturgy of the hours and go to daily mass and have a holy hour and be really nice to people and serve the poor. It's overwhelming. But I continue my pursuit in the hope that I can possess it. So indeed, just one thing, forgetting what lies behind. Okay, that's the past, it's done. I failed back then. I'm not living back there. I'm learning from it. Forgetting what lies behind, straining forward to what lies ahead, I continue my pursuit toward the goal. St. Paul's basically saying, when life itself, your life with your family, with your friends, with your work, is just overwhelming, take the next good step. Strive forward for the goal. And that striving forward for the goal, it probably looks a lot like this. Okay, what's the next good thing that I need to do? Okay, let's do that. Not perfectly, but just do it as best you can right now. From all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike Schmitz. God bless. Okay, now I realized that I talked about The Martian. I forgot to mention, it's a little bit of a salty book. There's some language in it. I think actually the very first line has 2 F-bombs. That's my disclaimer on that one. Sorry. Can't believe that priest recommended a book with a bunch of Effenheimers. What the? Oh, hey, like, subscribe, comment below, and share with your friends. Or don't, whatever. I mean, it's your life.